Jasper pretended to have amnesia just to break up with me. Who are you? I froze for a moment and then smiled. I'm your sister-in-law. Jasper was dumbfounded. That night, his brother Ethan, who had been urging us to break up, sent me a frantic message. Damn it. When did I get together with you? Jasper is blocking my door with a knife now. When I arrived at the hospital, Jasper was lying on the hospital bed. He had a bandage wrapped around his head in a proper manner. He looked at me with confusion and bewilderment and asked, "Who are you?" I froze for a moment and then smiled. I raised my hand and tugged at my collar, revealing the red marks on my neck. I'm your sister-in-law. The ward door was closed. His brother Ethan was standing outside the ward, waiting for me to break up with Jasper. I was with Ethan when I got the news that Jasper had been in a car accident and hospitalized. Ethan looked at me with a faint smile and waved a 5 million yuan check at me. Miss Shen, no one can predict the future between you and Jasper. But your own future will rise rapidly from this moment on. I had been with Jasper for 2 years, and he had never mentioned his family background. Until recently, I met Jasper while working part-time. He was out with friends, staying in a presidential suite that cost 50,000 yuan a night. I stood quietly at the front desk watching him when he checked out. I felt no bitterness or tiredness at all. Jasper ran right into me. He looked a little embarrassed. I didn't dare tell you before because I was afraid you'd feel stressed being with me. I pointed at myself in disbelief. Me? Do I look like someone with such a fragile ego? If you had told me you were rich earlier, you wouldn't have chased me for more than a year. Few people knew about my relationship with Jasper. After his friends saw us that day, the news somehow reached the Xie family. I also met the head of the Xie family, Jasper's own brother, Ethan Xie. The two brothers looked 7 parts alike. When Ethan looked down at me, the oppressive heavy aura made me tremble all over. Ethan told me to break up with Jasper. Last night, he sent me a video. In the video, he and Jasper sat facing each other. Compared with the immature Jasper, the elder brother was obviously more mature and steady. Ethan spoke slowly, every word striking at the tip of people's hearts. I heard you met Chloe in college. You chased her for a long time. She has a really bad temper, but after she found out about your identity, she suddenly became obedient to you. His implication was obvious. Gold digger, hypocritical, putting up with everything for money. She's not that kind of person. His tone was impetuous and lacked confidence. He was just eager to defend me. In fact, Jasper didn't even believe what he said himself. Compared with an old fox like Ethan, Jasper was still far from being a match. Seeing that Jasper had fallen for his trick, Ethan curled his lips into a smile. Really? Then why don't we put on a show together? You pretend to have amnesia after the car accident, act cold to her, and see how she reacts. The video ended there. There was no doubt about what was happening now. Jasper had chosen to go along with it. Jasper's expression kept changing, as if his brain was overloaded and couldn't process it. Want an apple? Sister-in-law will peel one for you. 5 million was indeed tempting. But I was really annoyed that the two brothers were making a fool of me. Sister-in-law. He opened his mouth as if he wanted to question something, but held back at the last second. He still had to keep up his amnesia act. Breaking down now would only shoot himself in the foot. He tried to stay calm, but tears uncontrollably welled up in his eyes, and his voice choked up. I think my brother is single. I waved my hand with a smile. You have amnesia. It's normal that you don't remember your brother has a girlfriend. Jasper pressed his temples tightly and said anxiously, I seem to vaguely remember something. I took out his written medical record and forced him to look at it. The doctor said you have no chance of regaining your memory. Jasper gripped the medical record tightly, the veins on the back of his hand popping out. I placed the peeled apple on his bedside table. Before leaving, I didn't forget to pat his head. If those memories could be forgotten, they must have meant nothing to you. Look forward to the future from now on. I'm going to a hotel with your brother. No, I'm going to dinner with your brother. You rest well, we'll come see you when we're done. I waved at him and walked out of the ward with a smile. As soon as I closed the ward door, a wail like a boiling kettle came from inside. Ethan knew nothing about the conversation in the ward. He turned to look at me, his eyes softening, as if relieved by my sense of propriety. On the way here, Ethan had been trying to persuade me. Since Jasper is willing to put on this show, it means he doesn't trust you in his heart. There's no fixing a crack in a relationship, it only gets bigger. Your attempts to save it are meaningless. Instead of breaking up hysterically in the end, you might as well take the $5 million now and disappear with dignity. Ethan was good at hitting people where it hurt. I stuffed my bank card into his hand. I don't want to take the check to the bank. Have someone transfer the money to this card. Ethan nodded, handed the check and the card to his assistant, and told him to handle it. By the time I walked out of the ward, the assistant had already finished the transfer. A deposit alert popped up on my phone a few minutes earlier. When Ethan handed the bank card back to me, he had no idea that someone was pressed against the ward door behind him. Jasper stared fiercely at the card in Ethan's hand through the glass on the door. Because of the angle, he couldn't see what the card was. Because of what I said in the ward, he naturally thought it was a hotel room card. Jasper's face turned gloomy, and the veins on his forehead throbbed. When I took the card, I even touched Ethan's hand ambiguously. Thank you. I put the card in my bag and turned to leave. Ethan looked down at the spot I had touched, his fingers curling up unconsciously. As soon as I turned the corner and disappeared from sight, Jasper jumped out of the ward immediately. The man who had been severely injured and on the verge of death pinned Ethan to the ground like a mad dog and started hitting him. Ethan, you old bastard, give me back my girlfriend. The hospital descended into chaos. Ethan was punched unconscious. Jasper sat aside, crying so hard he could barely breathe. I squatted in the corner and watched the show for a long time before leaving reluctantly. I spent the $5 million shopping like crazy until dark before going home. As soon as I got out of the elevator, I saw Ethan standing at my door like a ghost. He was filled with resentment. Ethan's face was bruised and purple, no longer looking as calm and leisurely as before. Ethan was furious. Chloe, go tell Jasper the truth. Tell him what exactly? Ethan frowned, hating me immensely. You know perfectly well. Stop playing dumb with me. Jasper thinks I stole his girlfriend. He says I made you fake amnesia so you could break up with him smoothly. He's blocking my door with a knife like a mad dog now. I hummed a tune and ignored Ethan's words. I laid out the things I bought that afternoon on the bed, and the bed was soon covered with revealing clothes. I held up the sexiest white lace nightgown and held it against myself to show Ethan. Do you think I'll look good in this? Ethan's face turned even uglier. He turned his head away, refusing to look at me, and spoke through gritted teeth. Only a blind man like Jasper would like you. I'd rather be single for the rest of my life than be with a vicious woman like you. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a knock on the door. Chloe, are you home? The moment he heard Jasper's voice, Ethan panicked. He stared at the door as if facing a formidable enemy. When he saw me about to open the door, he quickly stopped me. Don't open it. Jasper already misunderstood that I was having an affair with him. If he saw Ethan at my house in the middle of the night, Ethan would never be able to explain himself. I rolled my eyes in exasperation. If he's calling my name directly, it means he knows I'm home. If I don't open the door, won't it look even more suspicious? I took his hand and led him to the closet. Why don't you hide here for a while? He looked desperate. But after thinking it over, he had no other choice. He took a deep breath and reluctantly climbed into the closet. I turned to open the door for Jasper. Jasper's tall figure stood outside the door. He hung his head, the corners of his eyes still red. Why are you crying again? The tears welled up in Jasper's eyes could no longer be held back. Warm tears fell on the back of my hand, and his grievance poured out like a flood that had broken a dam, impossible to stop. He had agreed to the Amnesia Act himself, and he had been the one to pretend not to know me that morning. No matter how wronged he felt now, he had to swallow it all. My brother won't let me go home, he kicked me out. I have nowhere to go. Ethan, hiding in the closet and being chased all afternoon. Jasper held my hand and rubbed his face against my palm. Sister-in-law, can you let me stay for one night? I'll sleep on the couch, I promise I won't trouble you. I nodded understandingly. Of course you can. Jasper took off his shoes and walked in, and when he looked up, he saw the revealing outfits on the bed. His expression turned ferocious for a moment. I followed his gaze and explained shyly. Your brother bought them, said we'd celebrate tonight. I stopped abruptly, as if realizing I had said too much. I looked bashful and complained in a low voice. Your brother always buys these useless things. I can't stop him no matter how much I tell him. Ethan hid in the closet and said nothing, only staring at the ceiling in speechless exasperation. He looked as if he wanted to hang himself with the clothes rail above him. I put those skimpy clothes away, opened the closet door, and threw them in. The white lace nightgown landed lightly on Ethan's face. The moment I opened the closet door, Ethan looked half dead. He put his hands together in a pleading, helpless gesture. Jasper stood by the closet, talking to me through the narrow closet door. Will my brother come home tonight? I don't know. Why don't you call him and ask? Ethan's face was filled with terror. Jasper nodded thoughtfully. He took out his phone and dialed Ethan's number. The next second, Ethan's phone rang inside the closet. Jasper narrowed his eyes and stared dangerously at the closet. Sister-in-law, I think I heard my brother's phone ringing. Can I look inside the closet? I raised my hand and closed the closet door before Jasper could. Your brother left his phone at home. If you have something urgent, you'd better call his assistant first. Ethan breathed a sigh of relief, as if he had escaped death, covered in cold sweat. The more he thought about it, the more he regretted it. If he hadn't hidden in the first place, he would have had a chance to explain. If he walked out of the closet now, Jasper would never believe him no matter what he said. Ethan hated me with a passion. He sent me frantic messages. Make Jasper leave right now. Make him leave. Hurry up. Chloe, you vicious woman, I won't let you get away with this when I get out. You want to drive a wedge between us brothers, don't you? Haha, it won't work. Chloe, you'll pay for what you did today. I glanced at my phone with a fake smile, then turned and walked back to the closet. Jasper, do you want to change into some pajamas? Ethan's face turned ashen, his heart in his throat. Sorry, I spoke out of turn just now, don't take it to heart. Don't open the closet door again, please. Chloe, are you trying to ruin my family? My phone kept ringing. I frowned in annoyance and texted back. Brother, you're being a bit noisy. I'll set you to do not disturb for now. Chloe! There was no alert sound when Ethan's message came through this time. Ethan's face turned pale. He had no choice but to transfer money to my card. The sound of the bank deposit alert was like heaven to my ears. I mercifully stepped away from the closet. I took a new set of men's pajamas from the shopping bag next to me and handed it to Jasper. I just remembered I bought a new set this afternoon. You can wear these instead. Jasper glanced thoughtfully at the closet and whispered a thank you to me. Sister-in-law, I don't mean to stir up trouble, but I just think my brother is really irresponsible, leaving his girlfriend alone at home this late, and going out without his phone, like he's afraid you'll check up on him. Who knows what he's doing out in the middle of the night? If I had a girlfriend, I'd never treat her like that. I'd update her on everything all the time, so she wouldn't worry. Sister-in-law, your ex-boyfriend would do that too, right? Jasper peeked at me secretly, his little thoughts obvious in his eyes. An ex-boyfriend. I looked up at him, then quickly looked away. My eyes turned slightly red, but I forced a casual smile. My ex-boyfriend was indeed very thoughtful, and I felt safe with him. Jasper instinctively wanted to wipe my tears away. He raised his hand halfway before realizing his identity was different now. It wasn't appropriate. He stiffly lowered his hand and asked hoarsely, "If your ex-boyfriend was so good, why did you break up?" Jasper stared at me with teary eyes, determined to hear my answer. I raised my hand to wipe the tears from my face and said, "He was great, but I wasn't good enough. I couldn't make him trust me completely, couldn't give him a sense of security. He always held back when he was with me, even went out of his way to hide so many things from me. Being with me made him miserable. Breaking up was probably the best choice for us." Jasper turned his head away, his voice choked and trembling. What if he comes back to you? Will you get back together with him?" I hesitated for a moment, then smiled in relief. "Forget it. I hope he meets a nice girl who can make him let his guard down. I hope he's happy." Jasper could no longer hold back his tears. He turned his back to me, his shoulders shaking with sobs. I asked knowingly, "What's wrong with you?" Jasper shook his head. "I have a rhinitis attack, it's nothing. It's getting late, sister-in-law. You should go to bed early." Jasper picked up the blanket next to him and walked to the living room. I turned off the lights and went back to bed to sleep. Ethan waited until he was sure Jasper had left before climbing out of the closet. Jasper was in the living room, so Ethan couldn't stay or leave. Ethan's face was extremely ugly. He locked the bedroom door, then came over and shook me awake. Ethan grabbed my wrist and pulled me up from the bed. Too many things had happened that day. Before today, Ethan had never thought anyone would dare punch him in the face, accusing him of stealing his brother's girlfriend. And the one who hit him was his own younger brother. Ethan laughed angrily. "Chloe, did you have fun playing me?" Ethan used a lot of force, and my wrist hurt from his grip. "You're hurting me." Ethan glared at me with a fake smile. "You should be glad I didn't kill you." Ethan's tone was too fierce. I looked at him with teary eyes, tears falling uncontrollably. "Ethan, in your eyes, is a kid without a mom like me just easy to bully? Everyone around me says an orphan like me will be bullied to death with no one to stand up for me. You won't let me like Jasper, won't let me date him, won't let me get angry or throw a fit, and now you hurt me, and won't even let me complain." Ethan frowned, uncomfortable from my crying. He let go of my hand and saw that my wrist was red from his squeezing. "I'm not after anything at all. I just want a small home, someone who loves me, someone who can protect me." Ethan stared darkly and said nothing. He sighed helplessly and sat on the bed in resignation. He couldn't stand to see me cry anymore, and quickly changed the subject. "Does your wrist hurt badly? Do you need to go to the hospital?" I shook my head. "It'll be better if you rub it." Ethan sighed again and reached out to massage my swollen wrist. "It hurts. Be gentler." Ethan frowned, as if annoyed by my fussiness. "Like this? Does it feel better? You can go a little deeper." "That's called harder." I was about to say something flirty when Ethan interrupted me impatiently. "Shut up. Bear the pain. You deserve it." After he said that, he saw me staring at him blankly and realized his words were too harsh. He awkwardly tried to make up for it. "I've never done this before. It's inevitable that I'm not good at it. Be more patient with me." I nodded. "Do whatever you're comfortable with, I'll be patient." Ethan's frown never relaxed. He thought my words were strange, but they made a little sense when he thought about it. Correcting every word would make him seem petty. Ethan simply stopped overthinking and focused on massaging my wrist. His back was to the bedroom door. Half of the light coming through the crack under the door was blocked by someone's shadow. Jasper stared at the tightly locked door in front of him for a long time without saying a word. The voices of Ethan and I faintly reached his ears through the door. The cigarette between Jasper's fingers had burned out, and the red embers burned his skin red, but he didn't notice. After a long time, Jasper came back to his senses. He forced a bitter smile and murmured in a low voice, "What right do I have to be jealous? I chose this path myself, who can I blame?" Jasper slept on the couch all night. Ethan kept hoping Jasper would go out so he could sneak away. But Jasper didn't leave. Instead, he got up early the next morning and cooked breakfast himself. Ethan was out of options. He had to go to the office today. He couldn't just live in my closet because Jasper wouldn't leave. Ethan took a deep breath, gathered his resolve, and opened the bedroom door. He looked up and ran straight into Jasper. Jasper looked at him expressionlessly, then silently placed 3 servings of breakfast on the table. Ethan felt a chill run down his spine from that one look. He quickly started to explain. "It's not what you think between her and me. I was forced to." "Brother, let's eat, it'll get cold soon." Jasper looked down and interrupted him, clearly not wanting him to say more, and not wanting to listen. Ethan refused to give up and tried to prove his innocence again. Jasper simply stuffed a steamed bun into his mouth. "Don't talk while eating." Jasper was too calm today. Something was definitely off about him. Ethan looked at the lavish breakfast spread on the table and dared not take a bite. He was afraid Jasper had gone mad with anger and poisoned the food. He only hesitantly picked up the chopsticks after seeing Jasper start eating. He had just taken a sip of porridge when Jasper said coldly, "The cat at home is due for neutering soon. I heard the second one is half price. Brother, you don't need that thing anyway, let's do it together." He stood up with a dark face. "I'm full, I'm going to the office now." He took 2 steps out, then looked back at me, who was still eating. Ethan grabbed me and pulled me up, walking towards the door. He lied without changing his expression. "You said you had something to do this morning. I happen to be going the same way. I can give you a ride." Jasper watched us being intimate with a gloomy face. Ethan let go of me once we were in the elevator. "Jasper seems weird today. I'm afraid he'll conflict with you if I'm not here. Even though what you did really made me angry, I'm partly responsible for things getting this bad." Dark circles hung under Ethan's eyes, and he looked exhausted. Even pulling all-nighters at work never drained him as much as these recent messes. Ethan took me to his car. "Is there anywhere you want to go? I can drive you there. If not, you can stay in the lounge in my office during the day. It's spacious and no one will bother you. I can bring you back when I get off work." I covered my mouth and gagged. "Motion sickness?" I shook my head. "No, I'm just pregnant." As soon as the words left my mouth, Ethan slammed on the brakes. The tires screeched against the ground. Ethan was on the verge of breaking down. "What did you say? Does Jasper know about this?" I shook my head weakly. "I haven't had a chance to tell him yet." Ethan looked at me with despair in his eyes. The thing he regretted most now was stepping in as the overbearing older brother to persuade me to break up. What are you going to do?" "I want to go for a prenatal checkup first. My stomach has been hurting really bad since last night, all because you made me angry." Ethan pressed his lips together, not daring to lose his temper anymore. He resignedly drove me to the hospital. He was unusually quiet today. While waiting for our number at the hospital, he sat silently beside me the whole time. After struggling for a long time, he finally had to ask, "What are you going to do with the baby?" "I'll respect whatever you choose, whether you keep it or not. I was the one who wronged you first." As soon as he said that, several couples nearby looked over at us, their faces full of gossip. "I want to keep it. But what if Jasper doesn't acknowledge it?" In Jasper's mind, Ethan and I had been together for a while. Telling Jasper he was going to be a dad now would never make him happy. Ethan rubbed his face again. He looked like a desperate, helpless husband. He practically squeezed the words out through his teeth. "If he doesn't acknowledge it, I will." I pressed him further. "How are you going to acknowledge it? Tell him you're his father?" Ethan nodded. "Then what if the child asks who his mother is?" Ethan closed his eyes, as if holding back tears. "I'll marry you. I'll tell him you're his mother." "Chloe, don't worry. I'll respect your choice and take full responsibility for it." A girl sitting next to us rolled her eyes and whispered to the person beside her, "Scum, a total loser putting on a good act now." He had endured all the humiliation of his life in the past 2 days. When my number was called, Ethan went in with me. During the prenatal checkup, the doctor looked confused. Miss, are you sure you're pregnant? I was always good at playing dumb. The pregnancy test showed one line. Doesn't that mean I'm pregnant? The doctor sighed and directed me to the gynecology department. After a checkup at gynecology, I was sent to the gastroenterology department. The gastroenterology doctor glanced at me and prescribed a few boxes of digestive tablets. Ethan's emotions were like a roller coaster. When we walked out of the hospital, his expression was a mix of relief and regret. In the car, Ethan tossed the digestive tablets at me. Take them. The doctor prescribed you abortion pills. Chloe, is it fun messing with me? I ignored his obvious anger. I asked cheekily. Were you already imagining what our married life would be like just now? Ethan frowned and said in disgust. Chloe, I advise you to drop these little schemes. I could never like my brother's girlfriend. But you already made him break up with me. I'm not your sister-in-law anymore. Ethan was at the end of his patience. That's because I didn't want to see him continue to be deceived by you. His tone was fierce. I huddled in the corner and looked at him timidly. You yelled at me. Ethan froze, then realized he had lost his composure. He couldn't bring himself to apologize. I silently held my stomach and tears fell down my cheeks. Pregnant again? Who's the father this time? My stomach hurts from you yelling at me. The doctor told you to rub your stomach more often. I pressed my cold hand against the back of his. I pressed hand, but my hands are cold, it'll hurt more if I rub it now. I took the opportunity to touch his hand. Your hands are so warm. Can you help me? Ethan didn't resist, nor did he look at me. I placed his hand on my soft stomach and guided his palm to rub gently. Ethan, do you really not like me? Ethan was getting annoyed. How many times do you have to ask a question you already know the answer to before you give up? I lifted my hand to hold his chin and forced him to turn to look at me. The hand I had been holding his with moved away. Ethan's hand rested on my stomach, touching my skin through the thin fabric. He automatically rubbed in circles, his large hand covering most of my waist, as if wanting to pull me into his arms. I asked, do all older brothers do this kind of thing to their sisters-in-law? Ethan froze. Get out of the car. Ethan was furious. I got out of the car sensibly. It was cold outside, and the sharp wind seeped into my clothes. I shivered from the cold. A warm hand landed on my shoulder and pulled me into an embrace. Sister-in-law, don't catch a cold. Jasper held me in his arms, shielding me from most of the cold. He stood in front of Ethan's car, staring at Ethan through the thin glass. Ethan's expression was calm and indifferent, no change at all. Only the hand holding the steering wheel tightened unconsciously, his arm trembling slightly. Jasper didn't mention why he was at the hospital. He took me home and started showering me with affection. He rubbed his palms warm to massage my stomach, and warmed the bed for me so I wouldn't get cold. He fussed over me all day. And Ethan came again that night. From the bedroom, I could faintly hear the commotion outside. When he saw I wasn't there, Jasper dropped all his nice guy act with Ethan. He lowered his voice on purpose so I wouldn't hear. What are you doing here again? Ethan sat down next to him naturally and said earnestly, I was worried about you, so I came to check on you. Jasper was filled with anger, but was afraid of a fight that I would find out about. I'm fine. I don't need you to check on me. Get out of here now. Ethan scratched his nose awkwardly and said, Actually, Chloe really isn't a good woman. Vicious isn't even enough to describe her. She's been playing you this whole time. She knew you weren't really amnesiac. Jasper looked at him in confusion and asked, My acting was perfect, and you prepared the medical record. There were no flaws. How could she have found out? It really was flawless. But the problem was that Ethan had sent me their conversation before any of this happened. Ethan would never admit that. Inducing Jasper to fake amnesia and then tipping me off. Admitting it would make him look bad to both sides. Jasper saw Ethan fall silent and thought he was guilty. Ethan, stop trying to drive a wedge between us. I really used to think you didn't care about love, Only about your career. I didn't know you had so many tricks up your sleeve, all of them used on me. I was stupid this time, I admit it, but I won't give up. I'll make Chloe fall for me again. If you feel even a little guilty about me, don't tell her I faked amnesia to trick her, or I'll hate you forever. Ethan opened his mouth to speak. He hesitated and couldn't finish. Before, he would have quickly distanced himself and promised over and over that nothing was going on between us. But at this moment, he suddenly found he couldn't say it. Jasper narrowed his eyes at him. What actually? Ethan stood up from the sofa and snorted. I'm actually sleepy, too tired to argue with an idiot like you. With that, Ethan walked into the bedroom. His movements were smooth and natural, as if he really thought of me as Jasper's sister-in-law. After coming in, Ethan stood by the bed and stared at me for a long time. When he saw my eyes were closed, he climbed onto the bed quietly and lay down next to me. He was just about to relax when I suddenly rolled over to face him. Ethan's breath caught in his chest. The man who had snapped at me to get out earlier was now sneaking into bed next to me. Ethan had always been thin-skinned, and he felt uncomfortable under my gaze. He silently took out his phone and transferred money to my card. He smiled calmly. The apartment upstairs flooded and ruined my place. I really have nowhere else to go. Hotels cost money too. I can't stay here for 2 days for free. I picked up my phone and counted the zeros on the screen. A night at my place isn't that expensive. You're paying for special services. I leaned in and kissed Ethan on the corner of his mouth. Ethan froze. He stiffened all over, forgetting to resist. I leaned closer to his lips, about to kiss him deeply. Ethan snapped back to his senses and pushed me away. He scrambled to the side, breathing heavily as he looked at me. His ears and neck were bright red. Ethan had never had a girlfriend, let alone any romantic flings. This was the first time he had been this close to someone of the opposite sex. He glared at me fiercely and cursed. Don't be so shameless. With that, he yanked the covers over his waist. Ethan turned his back to me and refused to turn around no matter how much I coaxed him. I got bored and stopped teasing him, lying down to sleep on my own. When Ethan heard my steady breathing, he carefully leaned over. After hesitating for a long time, he kissed my lips like a thief. He was too cautious and inexperienced, his kisses light and ticklish, making me feel restless all over. I woke up the second he kissed me. Afraid he would pull away again, I pretended to be asleep. I murmured sleepily, wrapped my arms around his neck, and kissed him back, taking the lead. Ethan's mind went blank, but he didn't dare push me away, scared I'd wake up and see him in such a mess. I mumbled his name vaguely. Ethan? Ethan froze. After a long time, I heard his faint reply, barely louder than a whisper. Yes, it's me. Ethan didn't even dare look at me the next day. He left in a hurry when he went out. As soon as he left, Jasper started bad-mouthing him to me. Sister-in-law, you're too good for my brother. He left you out in the cold yesterday. He doesn't know how to cherish you at all. He came back so late last night and didn't even let you know beforehand. No sense of responsibility at all. He's just a pretty face with no substance. When it comes to living a life, you need someone thoughtful like me. Jasper wasn't shy about bragging at all, and he worked even harder with an apron on. Jasper's attempts to put Ethan down were clumsy. But, I already have your brother. Jasper's face flickered with unease for a moment. But my brother isn't good enough for you. Sister-in-law, I'm better than him, really. Give me a chance, I'll satisfy you more than he ever could. I was silent for a long time before speaking. But I'm already with your brother. Jasper saw an opening and threw all his pride away. I won't tell him. I'll be good to you in secret. I said nothing, just looked at him with red eyes and a troubled expression. Jasper pressed close to me. I could almost feel his rapid heartbeat. Jasper kissed me on the lips. I didn't pull away. It was like a silent response, agreeing to this secret. Jasper said he wouldn't tell Ethan, but that was just for my ears. As soon as we finished kissing, he started spamming his WeChat moments. He dropped all kinds of hints, desperate for Ethan to see them. This time, I will take back everything that's mine. Occupying someone's nest is only temporary glory, self-deception. My lips hurt so bad. Sis, blow on them for me. Justice will eventually defeat darkness. Schemes are fragile in the face of true love. He might as well have tagged Ethan directly. Jasper blocked me before posting to Moments. But he forgot we had mutual friends. A friend sent me a screenshot of Jasper's Moments and asked if he had lost his mind. I scrolled through my phone and saw Ethan had just texted me. You said you wanted to be with me yesterday. Irain Tawadola. I had barely read the message when he immediately unsent it. If it weren't for the unsent reminder, I would have thought I was imagining things. Ethan didn't send another message. That night, Ethan came back to my place as usual. This time though, he was holding a box. Inside was a ring. Ethan put it on my finger. It's beautiful, it suits you. Ethan was wearing an identical ring on his own hand. Jasper saw this and was so angry he chopped vegetables loudly in the kitchen. Ethan handed me a black card. It gets boring staying home. Go out more often. Unlike Jasper, who was playing the thoughtful house husband in the kitchen. Ethan could satisfy me with wealth. He didn't mention what had happened that day, and neither did I. I put my arms around his waist, a silent gesture of affection. This time, Ethan didn't pull away awkwardly. He even looked calm when Jasper glanced over. From the moment Jasper agreed to fake amnesia, he had lost all right to complain. Your sister-in-law has a weak stomach, make something light. I smiled silently, looked at the black card in my hand, then at the spotless home. Ethan, my human ATM. Jasper, my little errand boy. I couldn't help but sneer, remembering Ethan's first judgment of me. Gold digger, hypocritical, putting up with everything for money. He really knew how to read people. Good women get a good reputation. But me? I get everything.